Good day everyone, and welcome back to 4-Wheel Builds. And I've got a huge smile on my face once again today because what's behind me? The C450 AMG is back from the body shop. So let me take you on a very quick tour as to how it's looking right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little quick tour of the C450. I think it's looking fantastic and I'm really excited to have the car back, because now what that means is we can start putting this thing back together again. And oh boy, is there stuff to put back together. There's plenty of things that need to be done. Obviously I can't do everything at once, so let me break it down and let's see what we can get done in this episode. I'd really like to start off with the interior. The carpet has been removed on both sides. There's a lot of cables that need to be pushed back into the engine bay, and there's other components that had been taken off in the interior, well, that were taken off by the body shop and were not put back, and now I've got to figure out where they go. So keeping my fingers crossed, I'll be able to do that. One thing that I need to get done in the interior is, you might be able to see it there, right there. There's been, I guess, weld heat come through into the engine bay there, and I need to put some, I guess, prepare it and put some undercoat on it, just to make sure it doesn't rust. And what I might actually do is put some of this stuff on as well. I don't actually have this exact same of stuff. This actually comes out of a gun, but I have something fairly similar. Let me show you. I've got some of these beautiful some of these sheets of this butyl that you can actually just take the tape off from the rear and stick it on, and it's about the same consistency and about the same hardness. So not quite sure as to why these things have been put in there, but what I'll do, I'll replace it with these. And after we do the interior, what I'll need to do next is take off both of the fenders, because both of the, I guess, front support rails were replaced, and there's welding that's been done right there and also on the side. So what I need to do is actually get this fender off, so I'm able to get to all those weld spots and get those prepared for painting. Now when we remove these, the next thing I've got to do is actually get into all the crevices there where it's been welded and spray some wax in there, just to make sure it's all protected and it's not, none of it is going to rust. As you probably see right there, there used to be seam sealer along these welds. The original, I guess, weld spots have been separated to put in the new frame rails, and what I need to do is actually get that seam sealer and get that, I guess, original seam sealer recreated, so the whole thing is as good as new. Now, I've never done seam sealer. Well, you got to start sometime. And at the end, well, start preparing the whole thing for painting. This engine bay needs to be repainted. Not the whole thing, but obviously where the spots where the welding was done needs to be all repainted. Now I decided I'm not going to go to the paint shop to do that. I'll do that myself. I don't have much experience in painting such things, but well, you got to start somewhere. I did the Citroen Berlingo. That was my first attempt. Hopefully I'll be able to manage the C450 AMG engine bay as well. For the exterior, I think I'll take it to a professional, make sure it gets a top-notch paint job. Well guys, let's get to work. So I've marked 5 spots where the welds have come through and need to be covered up with some paint. So I think for that my small air-powered angle grinder will be great to get into these tight spots and clean those welds up. Some 80 grit paper. So let's start blasting those welds. Make sure you put your goggles on. So I've thrown in 2 layers of the epoxy primer. I've just done a bit of a spray on top with some black matte paint, just so I guess that epoxy primer doesn't stand out as much. I'd like to get things close as original as possible. Well, and I didn't show you, but I've done the same thing on the passenger side. On the passenger side is even more of a pain in the butt because there's just a whole lot more stuff there. Let me give you a quick look. And here's the passenger side of things. As you can see, well, first of all, this is a whole lot more crap here around, but I've sprayed in the epoxy primer 2 times, and I'm just going to throw some of this black paint in there just to make things look a little bit more cameo, and that should be the end of that. Paint has dried, so I think let's get some of these beautiful tape out, cut some pieces out, stick them on, and I think we can start putting this interior back together again. Okay, I've got all the pieces that I need, and I'll just maybe grab a heat gun because I think these might respond well to being heated up. Will make them stick and form better. Once you put some heat on it, that really conforms really well. Alright, so I've put the beautiful matte on. It came out really well, as you can see. Now in theory, the next thing I should do is actually put this cable through the hole right there, but I can't do that because I need to paint around that hole in the engine bay. On the driver's side, I've done as much as I can. Put the wire through. I need to be able to paint the engine bay. So, for that, what I need is paint. So, I'll need to cut a piece of this bumper off. Obviously, I'll give him the color code, but I think it's probably best if I give him a piece just in case, so that I can color match it properly. So, let me cut a piece out and get that done now. Okay, I've cut this piece out. I'll go down tomorrow to the local paint shop and get, I don't know, half a litre of this paint ordered. Alright, now let's see if we can get the passenger side sorted. Now the problem here is I'm not the one that actually pulled this apart. It was actually the panel shop. So now I've got to figure out where things go, which is going to be interesting. Now guys, apologies about the lighting, but as you can see, I've got the speaker in. That's still got to be connected up. There's a connection point there. Now I've just figured out there's not quite sure what this is, but this goes into this place. And I believe I've got the screws for this as well, so I'll get this secured, and then now it's just a matter of figuring this out, that out, plus I've got this kick panel or something that goes, I think, on top of this. There you go, that's now clipped in. And one more thing, get the speaker plugged in. I want the speaker to work. Cool. So I've got that sorted out, so we're moving in the right direction. Alright, the last thing to do is get this plastic panel in there. It's screwed into 1, 2, 3 locations. Just clips, no problem. Okay, that's clipped in. Let's get that in there.
twists.
Alright guys, I'm going to drop this for today. I cannot get this panel installed. There's this hook thing there, which, well, I guess it needs to hook in something at the back. It is late, it's dark outside, it's getting up to close up to midnight, so I think I'll pack up for today and get going home and come back tomorrow and, as they say, fight another day. It's the very next day here, and I did some research on this panel underneath this glove box, and I must say there is no clear answer as to what the hook thingy is there for. So it looks like I'm on my own and I need to work it out for myself. One thing I did note though is everyone that was putting that kick panel back on, or that panel back on, already had the carpet in there. So I got the passenger side carpet out. What I'll do is just vacuum it up nicely and I'll install it back in the car. I've cleared everything up. Now to put the carpet in, from what I'm seeing, I actually need to get this seat out. So I need a E12 socket. One of these. There's my setup for to connect up the battery to the connector, which is under the seat, and it's a pain in the butt to get to. So there's this connector which will go onto the actual one of the pins. Then the probe that will touch the other pin. That just allows me to then switch the polarities quite easy. Of my setup, I have been able to move the passenger seat forward and reveal those two E12 bolts which need to be undone to get the seat out. I gave the area under the seat a bit of a vacuum because, you know, I'm a stickler for cleanliness, so I want to make sure that I get all that cleaned out, and that, well, having the seat out is a really good opportunity to do that. Like I said, I'm a little bit pedantic with my cleanness, and I must say the carpet in this car looks brand spanking new. It's just, I'm really amazed. Okay, to install this trim panel, there's this, I guess, guide here, and there's this, I guess, hole that's there, plus there's a clip or something up the top here. So I believe this just needs to go in like so, like that, and there's clips on the side here and along the bottom of the door. For that panel, let me put you on time lapse because I'm quite sure it's going to take me a little while to get installed. And guys, I've finally done it. I've put that panel back in, and I must say, I think the trick is that you need to have the carpet in plus this kick panel in. That just essentially allows you to align the trim the way it should be installed and just pop right in. Get this seat reinstalled, and I think for the interior that's going to be it. We can move on to the mirror and the side door panel. So with the seat, just need to put all the plugs back in. With the seat in, the passenger side is practically finished, but not quite. We still got the mirror and obviously the door card. Well, we received a new used indicator, wider side. Just plonk it in there, push it in as far as you can, and then just slide the front part in, push it in. Now this part needs to clip in here, so that's quite sturdy now. And there's a fixed indicator. So now we just got to plonk this back together. First of all, we've got this connector that goes into the indicator, plonks into there. Okay, and the cover is securely on. indicator's plugged in, so now we just got to reinstall our mirror. And now, okay, ta-da! There's the mirror. We can now get the mirror back onto the car. Now I might actually be taking these covers off once again in the future. I'm thinking of actually going carbon fiber. So after all that, we've got the mirror on, plus the door card, and obviously the passenger side interior is all done. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is, I guess, start prepping this engine bay for painting. Now, in order to do that, what I need to do is actually get these fenders off, because they are blocking my access to, I guess, the areas that I worked on underneath here. So let's see if I can recall how these actually are undone. Okay, to remove the fender, you've got an E8 right here at the top. You've got a 10mm in there. You've got 3 10mm along here. You've got 2 10mm on the bottom here of the fender. As there's 2 that hold the fender to the front bumper. That's okay, we'll get it up once we get the fender undone. And the last bolt to be undone should be this wee little E8. And my struts seem to have gone because the hood keeps on dropping, which is quite odd. Okay, and there's our fender. Now let's put it away, make sure it doesn't get damaged. Okay, now that I've took the fender off, let's take a look what we need to do. On this top edge here, we need to do some Bondo. Get that filled in because that's rough. So that needs to be filled in and then painted. All these bits here need another layer of undercoat. Each one of these seams, it needs seam sealer to go on there. What I might actually do is, rather than doing both at the same time, I might actually do one side at a time. So actually take care of this side, obviously on the fender side, plus on the interior, and obviously on the inside there as well. That needs to be all done. And then once this side is done, I'll move on to the second side. I guess the theory behind my thinking is then that will allow me to take all these cables through once the paint dries on this side, and I'll be able to continue on with the interior work. Okay, so let's get some scuff pads and start scuffing down the areas where I need to put some Bondo down, and these areas I need to clean up in preparation for the seam sealer. Okay, I've got everything nicely scuffed down, so now I'll get some Bondo or some mud and put it into this area here. So let's give everything a clean down with isopropanol, and then I'll put some of this finishing putty. Whilst that's drying, I'll get on the inside and get all that scuffed down and prepared to get it painted. You just need a tiny little bit and pulling up later. By the way, so it doesn't. By spreading the Bondo out, you're actually extending the lifetime of it because it doesn't sort of heat up as quick. Our edge here.
Okay, so we've got our bundle applied. Let's give it a few minutes to harden up and then should be able to sand it down. I'll get it on the inside of this car and start scuffing down the panels that need to paint on the inside.
Okay, I've got everything scuffed down, prepared to be painted. What I need to do now is just mask everything off, give it a last nice rub down, just make sure everything is clean, and then give it a spray with a primer. I've done the masking. And can I say this on YouTube? I hate masking. Especially in areas like the engine bay, it's just a pain in the butt, I must say. Anyway, I've got it done. Let me show you.
Yes, it's not looking pretty. It's not a beauty contest, that's for sure. Now I've got shaken up some of my epoxy primer. And let's spray this down in areas where I've gone through to the bare metal. So I've thrown a coat of the epoxy primer on a roller, just lightly. I'll throw another coat, just make sure that's all nicely covered. And once done, we can start doing the seam sealer. That should be fun, I've never done that. Okay, so I've thrown down 2 coats of that epoxy primer, and that's looking quite smooth.
So whilst that's drying off, let me go get the seam sealer. I'll show you what I've got. I've got this stuff called PU500. First time I'm actually using one of these things.
Plus I've got a whole bunch of these tips, and I checked these are the 2 that I'll be using mainly. And I'll be going manual, so one of these things. I did order a automatic or pneumatic version of this, but it's making its way down from China. And well, to keep the project going, I'm going to do manual. I'll get myself a piece of cardboard and maybe just do a quick run, and I do hope that 2 of these tubes will be enough for this. I don't know, I've never done this, so I'm not quite sure as to how much I'll need. I'll need to do a test run to see how I can just mimic that sort of push and pull type texture that some of these seam sealer has in the engine bay. Okay, and this is the consistency I've been able to get. So I think I should be able to manage this. So we'll start off with the areas that I can't actually see. Okay, I've done the seam sealer. These are my results. Let me know what you think. In my view, I mean, it's not the best. I'm sure it could look a whole lot better. At the same time, from my first try, well, I don't think it went too badly. What I did find is, though, the product, when it went on, it looked worse. In my view, I think it just flowed out. So after putting it on, the product seems to flow out, and well, it loses its harshness, so to speak. The harsh edges seems to flow out a bit and look well, in my view, a lot better than it did initially. Have a lot of paper towels around. If you have rubber gloves, preferably put them on, and you can clean up with acetone. Acetone does wonders on this stuff as long as it hasn't dried yet. And one tube lasted, well, pretty much one side, and I just did 2 seams on the other side, and the tube ran out. So I think my estimate of 2 tubes is, well, very accurate. So good on me. Okay, that's going to be it for today's episode. I think we got a lot done in this one. So there's a lot of fun and excitement coming up on this channel over the next few episodes as we work on this C450 AMG to get it back on the road.
And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, consider leaving me a comment, leave me a like, and consider subscribing. It's going to help me and the channel out enormously, and it's going to, well, I guess, push me forward in being able to bring you cars such as this one, where they're all smashed and we can bring them back onto the road. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.